Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to how many cards did I make from how many sketches and whatnot. I am not sure how I'm going to edit this video together. So first off, I want to discuss with you guys what sketches I used. I used Call Me Crafty Al, her sheet load of cards, and this is from July of 2019. June 2019. And November 2019. I also used this Viva La Verve sketch from May of 2018. And then there were a handful that I didn't use sketches for. I just kind of eyeballed it and played with them. So real quick, I'm going to start inserting the pictures here. I'm going to let that roll for a second, and I will come back to discuss with you everything else. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at all those pictures. So that was a lot of cards. That's the most cards I have made early on in the season. It was over 130 cards when I finally finished. And I was really glad to have sheet load of cards to help me out this year, because being able to make 8 to a dozen per sketch just right off the bat, here's how you cut up your sheets to make these cards, definitely saved me a ton of time this year. Now, I did have some minor freakouts. Some of the things that I haven't been able to find are my stamping platforms. And to stamp that many images, I'm not a very good stamper to begin with. If you've been watching my Vlogmas videos, excuse me, you are already aware of the problems I was having with some of the embossing powders I have. So for me, like, being able to get some reliable stamped images, it's nice to have a stamping platform. And I couldn't find my Misty or my Tim Holtz stamping platforms. I'm convinced there's a box from the craft room that's just missing, because everything that I'm missing from the craft room would have been together. So I'm very confused. I'm sure that it's here somewhere, but the fact that I still haven't found the 6 missing boxes of cat treats still has me a little... something's not right here. What did I use up while doing these cards? I used up a lot of stuff, actually. I was quite pleased with myself. So, sorry, I still have stuff everywhere from where I filmed my show and tell, and I have to keep things very close by or else the cats keep taking it. But I used up an entire thing of Christmas stickers from my stash. Those went on the 5x7 cards that look like postcards on the front. A lot of those got used. Stick that there. I used up 3 of the hashtag sticker packs that I bought. Ooh, glare. Specifically to put on the back of the cards because I knew I wasn't going to have time to stamp my normal snarky things on the back. Which I did get another like sentiment set of snarky stamps from scrapbook.com the other day. That was the free gift. Or that's what they sent me as a replacement for the free gift. I used, let's see, there's another one in here. 3 whole rolls of ATG. I finished off the 2 rolls of foam tape that I loathe. This stuff is disgusting to work with. I've hated it from the first snip. I am so glad to have this out of my stash now. It's done. This one I didn't hate, but I didn't like as much as some of my other ones. I'm actually going to be trying the blue tape that Call Me Crafty Al uses. That's actually the new roll that I have sitting over there. I'm kind of excited about that. I used up 1 sample sheet of foam squares that I got in a card kit. I think that came from one of the Simon Says Stamp kits that I got last year. And I've got 3, 4, 5, 7 empty rings from washi tape. Those all came from my stash. They were all Christmas tapes for the most part. I did find one that had gone bad. The stick on it didn't stick anymore. So that got tossed. So technically I've got 9 fewer rolls of washi tape in my stash right now. And I have one more. I do have some final embellishments to do on the insides of my last round of cards. Everybody that was on my original list has already had their cards sent out. I did make an extra 20 cards. As cards come in, I can send return cards out if I didn't have their address beforehand. So what did I have left over after all this? Remember, I bought 2 paper packs. It was identical. And then I used mostly cardstock out of my stash to do embellishments and things like that with. I did have to buy some more of my metallic cardstock, and that's just because I'd run out. That's something I actually use quite a bit. I have 4 of each postcard design of these 2 designs because they're 2 identical sheets per pad. 2 pads, 8 of these. I have, this is my large scrap stack, and these will actually be really nice to put in the center of cards. I may actually put this through my die cutter and do some tags out of it, or I might just cut some tags by hand. And then got a half sheet here. As I cut down my scraps, I do tend to cut them in my card base size. So I have one that I've actually put on a card already. I did have a couple in the glitter paper and stuff like that, so I'm trying to filter those out. I have, no, that's glitter cardstock again. Those I just use year round. All right. So I have one 5x7 card base pre-cut. And then I have all of these. I don't know how many that is. That's too many for me to sit here and count. The card that's got the green back with the blue circle and then the sentiment in the middle. That came out of the center of this poinsettia pattern. I chopped 2 long sides off and then cut the short sides off. And that middle tag is actually this background. So what I did is I used the color strip at the top, the perforated strip, adhered. This is 2 separate pieces of paper, and then covered the seam in the front with washi tape. This is now 4 by 5 1/4. I can, put embellishments and sentiments and things like that on the front, decorate it just like I did with the other sketches, and cover up that seaming basically and make it all pretty. But I figured, why not? The poinsettias are very pretty. I do have this little container of miscellaneous size scraps. Now this does include some of my solid cardstock and my glitter cardstock. But there is that. And believe it or not, this is not nearly as much scrap as I'm used to having, because I did come back and use a lot of my scraps as I was going. And finally, out of the 2 paper pads, I have 24 sheets of paper left, full sheets. So I actually have more than enough to do more cards if I wanted to. I did take out the, let me find it. The 2 remaining sheets of this, I did take out. And I am going to do something non-Christmas with these. Probably some sort of thank you card, like love you to the stars and back or something. Thank you, you're a rock star. I don't know. I'm going to do something different with these. I don't think it really coordinated to any of the papers in this kit or in this pack. It just, when you look at what's in here, it was already kind of eclectic, a little retro, a little natural, some very masculine sheets with that green, like Scrabble tile. I know I've got another full sheet of that in here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I did use it all. The dark hunter green Rejoice paperwork, or yeah. Oh, well, here's a scrap of it. Yeah, it had some really nice, more masculine looking things, but for some reason that paper just did not look good with anything. So I did pull it out so I don't like trick myself into trying to use it. Now, I have been very inspired by watching Tabitha Betancourt's channel, and I will link her down below. But she's been participating in No Scrap Left Behind, and the stuff she is coming up with to just use everything and have it for other purposes is pretty inspiring. I might play with some of that to use the scraps, but what I have left in here, some of these, like this one, I would like to do some notebook covers with for next year. I really think I am really having a devil of a time communicating and doing what I'm trying to do. This one, I think, is going to make some really pretty large tags for Christmas gifts for next year. I'm finally to the point where I'm almost out of my Christmas gifts or tags. So I'm kind of looking forward to having some handmade tags that I can use my scraps up with. So I've got other ideas of what to do that are Christmas themed. I just won't get them done necessarily in time to enjoy them for this Christmas. Because let's be honest, with the move, I'm a little frazzled and a little brain dead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my scraps. I have some mailing envelopes. I will adhere one to probably the top cover. And then I can put all my scraps in there. That way everything is together and I don't have to have 800 plastic containers for individual pads of paper. And I will come back to them sometime during the year and work on finishing using everything that's left from the paper pad. There were 48 sheets per pad. So that means I had 96 sheets to begin with, and I'm down to 28. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm not going to link Tabitha's channel down below. I'm going to link the video. If you're considering card making, I'm going to link the video she did for her cost breakdown. She very much broke down the cost of her card making like I do my subscription box reviews. So I'm going to link that video down below. I don't make cards because they are cost effective. I make my Christmas cards and holiday cards because I just enjoy making cards. You know, Troy would never in a million years say anything bad about my craft room. He's just glad I like doing stuff. I'm happy. He doesn't care. You know, happy wife, happy life. But he only has himself to blame for my paper crafting addiction. Because I didn't want a Cricut. I begged him not to get me a Cricut. Repeatedly begged him to not get me a Cricut. And he finally talked me into getting one for Christmas a couple years ago. And I realized I enjoy putting together fussy, futzy little pieces of paper. And the hilarious, ironic thing is I make my Christmas cards by hand. I don't use my Cricut to make my Christmas cards. I could probably save a little bit of time instead of using the Cuttlebug die cutting machine. The one that actually uses dies. I could probably cut out a whole bunch of like 3-inch circles or tags and things like that. I don't. I tend to cut those out by hand still. I use my Cricut for things like the layered paper that make, like, I did sugar skulls a couple years ago that are just the cutest things ever. I enjoy using my Cricut for things like that. So it's actually funny, the thing that got me to card making, I don't even use my Cricut for that. But yeah, so I'm going to link that specific video of Tabitha's down below. She is a riot and a half. So even if you're not into card making or thinking about paper crafting, I recommend watching her channel because she's just funny to watch. I found her because of Bourbon Creek's crafty Christmas collab. But yeah, this woman has made me like snort coffee into my nose. I laughed while sitting there drinking coffee. But her breakdown of what she spent versus the cost of quality cards, I actually thought that was really interesting. So go check out, if you're interested in how I did these. Like I said, all of the Call Me Crafty Owl videos or card sketches have her videos with her demonstrating how she made her cards. The one for December, you guys, she uses clear cardstock. I did not know this was a thing. She used the plastic sheets that you use for like when you use the binding machine at like works and schools and stuff and do the little spiral bound. That's what she used. A lightweight plastic cardstock. And I'm like, I might have to make some clear cards this year. Because those were pretty awesome. I was pretty excited about that. But yeah, so down below, I'll have the links for Call Me Crafty Owl's tutorials. I will have Tabitha's video where she did her cost breakdown of buying versus making cards. I really haven't found it to be that expensive to make cards, especially when you consider like the ones I was buying were $30 for 15 cards. So I was paying $2 a card. Each one of these pads cost me $5. So I spent $10 in paper. What I added in might have been another $5 worth. But remember, I didn't even use all this paper. The ATG, I get it when it's on sale, $5 2 rolls. The foam tape is like $20 for these. Actually, let me go get my new one and I will show it to you. Here, pause this. So I splurged when I bought my new foam tape, and I got 2, and they're 2 different widths. I've not used this one. This is the one that Call Me Crafty Owl recommends. This is the one she uses. It's thinner, number 1, which I am wildly overjoyed over. But you don't have to use foam tape. You can see how thin that is compared to, I mean, you can see that last little bit on that roll there and how thick that is. I mean, that's a huge difference. And mailing cards, the thickness of your final card matters. These barely made it through the sorter. And I've had a couple like go missing over the last couple years. So I'm really excited for this. But if you do want to conserve cost, you don't have to use foam tape. Jess Crafts has started trying to make her cards not only just less recycling going out, less trash out of her supply closet, but they're fully recyclable. She takes the paper strips that she cuts and actually glues them together and makes her own foam tape, basically. And I did do that with a couple of my cards this time because I had pieces that they were already on the foam tape and I didn't want to elevate it another level. I just wanted it to stay straight across, but I needed a little bit more than what the foam tape was giving me at that point. I needed, you know, an extra layer or 2. So I actually took the header strips for the perforated strips at the top of the pages. I ran a line of glue down it, stuck them together, cut them in half, stuck them together, cut them in half, stuck them together, and got it to the perfect thickness I needed. That's a little OCD. It's a little more eco-friendly than a lot of people would go for it. But the fact that that makes your card fully recyclable and there's not a non-recyclable material in the middle, I actually kind of think it's cool. So if you're thinking about it and don't want to invest in mega rolls of foam tape, that would also be an option because most paper pads, oh, that threw my lighting off so bad. I kind of look like an Oompa Loompa on my camera end. But yeah, I mean, I find I'm spending less than when I was buying cards, and I like the cards more. I was getting the really nice Lang. They feel like watercolor paper almost that has been laminated. Very heavy duty, nice cards. Or I've been custom ordering cards from the Catholic bookstore and places like that, and getting these really nice high quality cards. But I really enjoy making them. I mean, I make mine for the pleasure of it, but it is nice to know, you know, looking at her video, seeing the cost breakdown and seeing where she came out on it, and then comparing what I spent, because, you know, like I said, I'm using a lot of stuff from my stash this year, and being able to use up 8 rolls or 9 rolls of washi tape, 8 rolls, and then the disappointment of finding one that sat in my stash 1 year too long. I mean, it just wouldn't work anymore. So being able to get supplies used and out of my stash was kind of nice. So I was able to curve a little cost this year because I had purchased so much on clearance previous years. My camera stand is really precariously situated. I was trying really hard to sit in a chair today and not my floor. I probably should have just sat on the floor. But so go ahead and check out those videos. I might also throw a couple links down below to people like Jess Crafts, Christy Marcotte, Beth over at Bourbon Creek has some wonderful tutorials. Or she does more sped up walkthroughs. She doesn't really talk her way through it. If you really want somebody who's going to talk you through their process, I highly recommend Jess Crafts. If you're just wanting to grab, she does a lot of 6x6 paper pads, which makes it even cheaper to come up with 20 cards. So that would be another really good resource if you're considering it. But if you have questions, as always, comment down below, and I do try to get back with you guys as quickly as possible. Also, feel free to email me. My email address is in the description box of all of my videos. So you email me, comment. I would be more than happy to send you to some of the other places that I have gotten inspiration from. I am by no means a papercraft expert, card making expert. I'm still pretty new at all this. I've only been paper crafting for about 2.5 years, give or take, with moving to the old house and moving to this house. So yeah, I'm pretty new myself. So I'm still constantly learning new information. I didn't even consider, like, one of the things, because of Tabitha and, was it Deb Hauk? So one of the other ladies who did Bourbon Creek's Crafty Christmas collab, making your own gift bags out of 12x12 paper. I would have never considered that, because everybody has those weird pieces of paper that at the end of the pad, they have no clue what to do. Like how I feel about this. Like, this would be a great generic gift bag for a dude. That's something like this paper would be perfect for. Or the other wreath paper. Like, how pretty would that be as a Christmas bag? My hot pink ones aren't going to be Christmas bags. Like I said, those are going to be notebook covers. But yeah, it's like the more video, it's no different than how we look at our knitting and crocheting and stuff. We constantly are watching videos to get inspiration and see what other people are doing. Paper crafting's the same way. And there are a lot of channels out there that are geared towards walking you through the thought process. That's why I've mentioned Jess Crafts before. I have been watching her for like 3 years now. I started watching her before I started paper crafting. Just because I loved hearing her thought process of working through cards, and she donates a lot of her cards. Her website has a lot of the places in the US and I think Australia where you can donate cards to sick kids. So she's just fantastic. And I mean, she's a teacher by vocation. So her videos are informative, but they're not patronizing. Like, you don't feel like she's talking to a child in her videos. But yeah, I'm constantly learning new things, and I'm constantly coming up with new ideas based on things that I have seen other people do. So I'm really new to this myself, which is why I don't do tutorials, but I'm more than happy to send you to tutorials. My tongue is tied. Anyway, I have sat here now and like taken up, by the time I get those pictures put in this video, I've probably taken up about 35 of your minutes. And that's if you didn't speed me up. I don't know how fast you guys can speed me up to listen to me talk, but I can't go past 1.5 and understand everything I say, because I already talk kind of weird anyway. All right, you guys. Take it easy. Take care. Please, if you have any questions, comment down below. Go check out the ladies that I mentioned down below. Their channels are amazing, informative, and helpful. Like I said, it'll be Call Me Crafty Al, Tabitha Betancourt, who's just a delight, Jess Crafts, Bourbon Creek Crafts, and I might throw in like Christy Marcotte or somebody else like that that specializes in the 6x6 pad usage and getting as many cards as possible out of a 6x6 pad. Yeah, I'm not going to bore you guys with this video anymore. Take it easy. I hope you enjoyed my free flow rapping with you guys over Christmas cards, because I'm sick of looking at this pad right now. And I probably need to go make dinner. On top of all that, I still need to make dinner tonight. But you guys take it easy. I will see you guys real soon. If you wanted to see any of my commentary while making cards, check out my Vlogmas videos. Just about every day while I was hardcore working on those. After the first, I did share some tidbits, including how I was very frustrated with some of my embossing powders. I'm gonna shut up.